Okay, so we were talking about in my last segment on this final wrap up of my analysis and rant, because they were both on Star Wars The Force Awakens. I wanted to delve into some last thoughts I had on the characters. And of course, I'm talking about some of our all of our primary characters, really. Of course, Finn, Rey, and the guy I'm calling Killer Kylo Ren, Darth Vader wannabe. But in any event, to summarize, let's start off with Finn. Now, I think that, personally, I think Finn has potential. I don't think that potential was lived up to in the movie, but I do think the guy has potential. And one thing I was wondering is, or hoping rather, is that Finn is a Force sensitive. Now, I would like to see him be a Force sensitive, quite frankly. That was the idea that I think was given in the lead up to The Force Awakens. It was advertised or made you think that that was what was going on, although that was, of course, a bait and switch. We know that now. I'm still hoping that it is true. And if it is true, I'm going to lay out a few different scenarios here. He doesn't necessarily even have to become a Jedi. In this sense, you could have Finn become somebody who is maybe someone who doesn't undergo the formalities of Jedi indoctrination and immersion into that particular way of looking at the Force. There are, after all, other non-Jedi Force sensitives in the galaxy. People who have a connection to the Force, to its essence, without becoming Jedi at all, and in some cases not even ever having heard of the Jedi Order. We know this from the extended universe and from other sources like books and things of this nature. So, however, if Finn is a Force sensitive, I think it's essential that if he does not become a member of the Jedi Order, that his abilities be bestowed upon him in such a way as that they are profound, that they are strong, that they bestow upon him honor, status, respect, position, power. In other words, the guy doesn't need to become some kind of galactic witch doctor. He doesn't need to become some kind of idiot savant or an ignorant mystic. He needs to be respected. He needs to be powerful, maybe even feared. This doesn't have to be developed all at once, but it is something that I believe should happen. Now, if he does become a Jedi, so be it. He still needs to become a strong member of the Order, especially if he's going to become a foundational member of the new Jedi Order. That's something that I think definitely should happen. Either way, though, if Finn, whether he's a Force sensitive or not, whether he becomes a Jedi or not, or whether he just remains in the mold that he currently is, which I hope is not the case, but that he develops further as a strong character, that's what I'd like to see. He does need to be redeemed. As I stated previously in the Finn factor, I believe Finn was severely underdeveloped. That his character was left aside because Rey, of course, was the primary focus of the story, and in that sense, she took the show, and he was left there pretty much to basically support her character in a way that did not show him to be the kind of hero, or did not show him his hero development as it should have been shown. Okay, so he needs some serious redemption, and I think he's got the ability to make that happen. We'll have to see what the scriptwriters do with episode 8 and with episode 9, but Finn is a character who has potential, and I think that should be developed. The second analysis, the second character, the guy I'm calling Killer Kylo Ren. Okay, now I still think that Darth Maul would wipe the floor with Kylo Ren, and I still think that Darth Sidious would be embarrassed by the guy. But one question does arise, and that is Kylo Ren actually a Sith? Now, you see, the reason my previous observations on Kylo Ren were so harsh were because I believe that Kylo Ren, I thought the guy was a Sith. And in my opinion, he represented one of the weakest Sith that we've ever seen portrayed in the films, or maybe even in books and other things of this nature. The reason I say this is because Sith are intensely and even brutally trained. And as you know, as some of you have probably seen from the novel Darth Plagueis, okay, you've seen, even in this book, you've seen the training of Darth Sidious there on the left by the being Darth Plagueis, who some of you think maybe Supreme Leader Snoke might be. But anyway, you've seen in this novel an excellent, brilliant novelization, in my opinion. You saw in this novel not only the training of Darth Sidious, but you saw in this novel the training of Darth Maul himself, done by Sidious. Okay, this novel portrayed some of the finest portrayals of Sith training and Sith indoctrination that I have seen in these books. And it was based upon this judgment that I rated Kylo Ren to be a very weak character who did not deserve, quite frankly, he did not deserve our respect. And I stand by that even now. But the question becomes, can he be redeemed as well? And maybe he can. I don't like how the guy came off, but if Supreme Leader Snoke had not finished his training by this time, maybe that could provide an opportunity to complete that training and then maybe make a meritorious comeback thereafter. So, like Finn, if Killer Kylo is pulled off right in the next movie, he may be the kind of villain of weight that he should have been in episode 7, but maybe he can come back in 8 and make us all proud that he is trying to be, anyway, in the vein of Darth Vader, and exist in his shadow. So that goes that for him. Finally, I want to talk about the new Jedi mistress that we are undertaking here, and that, of course, is Rey. Now, I think Rey actually does have potential on her own. I don't necessarily dislike Rey. I dislike how Rey was used in the film to, promote in my opinion, what was a very gynocentric and feminist agenda. But that being said, and I did talk about that in one of my other previous installments, of course. But that being said, Rey is something of an interesting character to me. I think she's easy to like. I think she has potential to be an inspiring individual if she's developed properly in the next story. She's an entertaining character in some of those respects, but I would like to see her undergo some more tests, some more trials. I would like to see her struggle more. The Rey can do anything, on the first try kind of stuff is kind of ridiculous, as we've seen with her Force abilities, as we saw with her ability made to pilot the Millennium Falcon and other things of this nature. Let's see her undergo some tests, some struggles. Let's see her work for her abilities, just like these other masters of the Jedi Order have had to do throughout time and history, just like Anakin Skywalker had to do, Luke Skywalker, even Darth Sidious himself was not shown to be, just a perfect character, especially if you read, the novel. As I said, Darth Plagueis right here, you do see him grow and change. And so I think we need to see Rey grow and change in that regard as well. So hopefully we'll see a more complete personality instead of one who, quite frankly, was crafted for feminists, in my opinion, to howl and jump and scream and shout at. So that said, let's watch this individual earn the props that she was given in number 7. And maybe even give her some dark side temptations to overcome. On another front with Rey, it has been speculated that she is maybe a descendant of the Skywalker clan, that maybe she is a Kenobi. You know what I'd like to see? I'd actually not like to see her in either of those roles. To me, I think it's time to step away from this notion of the Force as this elitist kind of thing here, where people just basically get on with it because they are a member of some particular group or family. let's start to see some nobodies, because we have had other nobodies come out of the Jedi Order who have distinguished themselves in the history of the Order. Ahsoka Tano, Luminara Unduli, Deepa Bilaba, others, okay? And these individuals have shown themselves not to be connected to any particular force-sensitive, powerful force-sensitive clan, yet they have been able to distinguish themselves. If Rey is going to be, another strong force-sensitive, why not have her be a nobody who just comes out of nowhere and starts to show that she has what it takes? All right? But barring that, if you don't want to do that, if you do want to see her be part of some kind of clan, then let's make her a Palpatine. I really seriously think that would be a very good idea. If you want to give her something to struggle with, if you want to give her something to overcome, then let her overcome a heritage of dark side, of great invested dark side power. Have her be the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine. Somehow or another, he had some descendant somewhere, and that became what it became, and she is a product of that descendancy, and somewhere down the line, as a granddaughter, she's a powerful force sensitive, but she has to struggle with the dark side. Now, I think that would make a much more a fine plot point and plot twist to cover ground with than just having her be a Skywalker, or maybe having her be, some kind of lost daughter of the Solos, or be a Kenobi or something like that. So let's think about that as, maybe some opportunities there. Of course, it's not up to us. Obviously, it's up to the writers, but we'll see what they do. So that concludes my analysis on these characters. Now, I want to finish this up by talking about maybe what I think should be a little bit more mature focus here. As with Revenge of the Sith back in 2004, which I had hoped would deliver a more mature story with a darker theme that brought out the dangers of the fall of Anakin Skywalker, the fall of the Jedi Order, the fall of the Galactic Republic. So too, I also wish to see The Force Awakens that reveal to us that it is a dangerous galaxy out there. It's a dangerous universe out there. Everything is not going to be safe. Everything is not going to be pleasant. And when one is immersed in the kind of high drama where the fate of entire star systems and planets, the fate of a galaxy is on the line, people are going to die, blood is going to be spilled, planets will fall. Now instead, in my opinion, while Revenge of the Sith did reach for this goal, and that was certainly something George Lucas aspired to, I got it. But to me, I didn't quite feel it in my heart, which to me, again, is essential in high drama. And I cite as another example of this, once again, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, that was a story where you, in my opinion anyway, you felt the drama, the highness of the drama, you felt the highness of the danger, the struggles toward the upward reach that these individuals were trying to achieve to overcome Sauron, to destroy the Ring of Power. I did not quite feel that with Star Wars in Revenge of the Sith, nor in the prequels, and I didn't get it here either, although I know that this is the beginning of a new story with The Force Awakens. But I'd like to see that happen if it's going to happen at all. Whether this was because of George Lucas's direction or if it was because of some other matter, I don't know. What I will say is, the only time I really felt that emotional danger in Revenge of the Sith was when the final lightsaber duel between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi took place on Mustafar. Now, it was, to me, everything was on the line at that point. You could feel the danger. You could feel that everything was building up to that point, and you knew that whoever won that battle, the galaxy itself was going to be basically a winner or a loser. So, like I said, The Force Awakens left me, quite frankly, with no critical moment to savor in this regard. Okay, and by not feeling that danger, I was not really emotionally invested, and I think that that's something the writers need to address. By the way, those of you who were interested, what happened to John Williams' score in this movie? I I got a tremendous letdown here from this score. John Williams is a master composer, but I got no sense of any kind of real issue, real themes that stood out to me in this. Maybe except for Rey's theme, and that to me is still not something that I quite remember even now. But leave that aside. If John Williams is going to compose the next few movies, hopefully he'll still be around. Maybe he can bring that back, because we've seen what he did in the last, with all the other movies before. They were brilliantly inspired themes, brilliantly inspired scores, but I didn't get a sense of inspiration with this one at all. So, that being said, I understand Star Wars is not Shakespeare, but to me it is a high-space drama, and in that sense, we the audience need to be swept along on emotional crests, okay, that demonstrate this tension, that demonstrate the verity of the reach that the characters are struggling for, okay? And to that end, I think, combinations of high tension, high melodrama, high dialogue, high acting, these things properly balanced are essential. And again, I cite The Lord of the Rings as an example of that. And I think George Lucas understood that, and he strove for it, particularly in the prequels. No matter what you may think of the prequels necessarily in how they actually came out, I think this is what George Lucas understood, and this is what he strove for when he went for these movies. So that ends the critique, okay? And I realize that my opinions are going to be in the minority, at least with some of you. And I realize that until maybe logic prevails, for some of you, regardless of what I have to say, regardless of the evidence that I put forward, people are going to continue to praise The Force Awakens as probably the greatest Star Wars movie of all time. I'm going to be in the minority camp, or I'm going to be in the divergent camp, which disagrees with that opinion. Star Wars 7, in my opinion, lacked passion, it lacked imagination, it lacked inspiration, and it lacked depth. Whatever you may think of George Lucas and the original trilogy or the prequels, that is not what he gave us starting in 1977 through 2004. Okay? George Lucas attempted something new. He attempted something fresh, something different, something more mature each time he went into Star Wars, and this is especially true during the prequel era. This was not, Transformers amusement for teenagers made to blow things up, shoot things up, and sex things up. It was fun, yes, but it addressed the great themes of human existence, reaching for truth above idiocy, okay? George Lucas may have fallen down or may have failed in some people's estimations to deliver that, but that is beside the point. What he did, but if what he had done, if what J.J. Abrams has done with Episode 7, if George Lucas had done that, George Lucas would rightly deserve a beatdown. And I believe J.J. Abrams rightly deserves a beatdown now. What he has given us by far and away is an inferior specimen. And the fact that, quite frankly, he continues to make excuses for it, the fact that he is making these excuses that masquerade as reasons in telling us why he did what he did. This, to me, is showing us that he's trying to subtly walk everything back. He's trying to show you that his thought processes going into this were not quite up to spec, but yet we're going to, continue to try to give you this nonsense anyway. Part of what I was telling you before is that the track record of J.J. Abrams should serve as a warning for future manifestations to come. If he has screwed up Star Trek twice and now screwed up Star Wars, what investment of trust should you reward him with Star Wars Episode 8 and beyond? I'm asking you to think about this because I want you to consider whether or not you should invest the time, the energy, the money going into Episode 8 without critical thought as to what J.J. Abrams has done before. This was the crux of what I did when I started this particular last installment of the video series, and I will end it by asking you to consider that. I truly wanted to like this movie, and I cannot give it any super positive ratings nor the enthusiasm that I originally invested it with. I will not even be interested in rushing out to buy a DVD copy of it, maybe unless it's at a supremely discounted price. Star Wars 7 has also made me less enthusiastic to see the next movie. And the fact that J.J. Abrams is only producing it and not writing it, to me, is beside the point. Under his direction, a tone has been set. And is it absurd for us to think that that tone will not continue in Star Wars 8? This suspicion can be extended even to the spin-off story, Star Wars Rogue One, okay, which is set to come out this December, 2016. Whatever the future of this franchise is to bring, it's going to be up to us fans to ensure that it's not de-evolved into a cesspool of political agendas, poor storytelling, and nostalgic rehashing of what has already gone before. The story should push forward, breaking new ground, just as George Lucas did or tried to do with the first trilogy, or at least should I say attempted to do, did with the first trilogy and tried to do with the second trilogy. The story owes Mr. Lucas that much, and it owes its fans that much. If it cannot do that, or if it will not do that under Disney's stewardship, then perhaps it's time for fans to do what they've been doing for some time now, creating their own original, and I would dare say superior stories independent of the big film houses. You guys have written these. I've seen several of these, and I've enjoyed many of them. So we've proven that we can do what Hollywood either does not know how to do or does not wish to do. J.J. Abrams told us that he was a fan of Star Wars. He tried to convince us that he understood this story, and yet we see the product, okay? So if he cannot do it or will not do it, if Disney won't do it, we have shown them that we can make stuff that appeals to us, written, produced, and directed by us and with our own money. And if Star Wars continues along its current course, we may have no choice but to go exactly that route. So there ends my rant on and my meditation on Star Wars The Force Awakens. Of course, I will continue my thoughtful meditations on speculative fiction and the upward reach of man with articles that speak to those high ideas at my blog spot, and I will continue to make other videos that talk about these things in the meantime. We'll see what happens with episode 8. I'm not going to rush out to see it. I'm going to wait to see what you guys think about it first before I go spending any money on it, because the disappointment was just too great. Anyway, that's what I have to say on Star Wars The Force Awakens. This is the last film on that, the last video on that. So the next installment, the next video I make will be on another topic. Probably I'm thinking about talking about Star Trek Axanar next time. That's something I've been interested in, something I've been following, and something that I do think is good. It's an independent movie, and it actually segues right into what I was just saying about independent films being made by fans for fans, with fans-owned resources, and how much of that stuff is becoming a lot better than this Hollywood garbage that's being put out by the big movie houses. So, until then, folks, we'll see you next time.